For those that thought they were going to get a sponsorship for a job, you really need to look at the E-2 more seriously. And guess what? You need to look at the E-2 more seriously now, not a week from now, not a month from now, but now. For those of you that have ever considered being sponsored or applied for a job in the US, the most common way to be sponsored is through what's called, well, if you're Canadian in certain categories, it could be a TN, which is an NAFTA visa. But the most common way for an advanced degree that doesn't qualify under one of these certain categories is called an H-1B. And an H-1B is for somebody that has an advanced degree of 4 years or more, or the equivalent of work, or a combination thereof. Erwin, guess how many H-1Bs I had when I came into the US? Just guess. I don't know if I told you, but just guess.
No idea.
4. So guess what that means? That means that my employers, and one of them was a renewal, my employers would have had to pay $400,000 in fees plus pay me. So you know what that means? That means
Goodbye business.
been hiring me, and I wouldn't be here today. Or I mean, I'm great, but I'm not that great. You know, I was saying to Erwin before that I charge $550 to $600 an hour US. And
US.
He wants me to be very clear about that to show the value of what I'm bringing to you today. But at that time, that was not my billable rate. Either way, there's nobody that would have paid me $100,000 or whatever they were paying me plus $100,000 in fees times 4. It just wouldn't have happened. So there's a lot of very significant changes happening, and I expect the next round to include E-2 visas, which are the core of what we do. Yeah, your eyes are expanding because it is a big deal, and I think by the end of the year, and you know, again, this is not legal advice, this is my projection, and I do not have a crystal ball, but my projection is that by the end of the year or early next year, we're going to have a minimum mandated investment threshold for E-2s, which I expect to be around 250,000. That's not including if you're buying real estate, that is the investment in the business itself.
It's still not that much money. It's still smaller than a
money for
condo in Toronto.
Struggling to find 100,000 to buy a business. You're right. They really should have that much, because if you're moving to another country, you need to invest significantly. But for solopreneurs or people that have service businesses, it's hard to figure out where to spend that money. And so that's a challenge.
Oh, so with the 100,000 with the H-1 visa, you correct me on the terminology. Is that per year or is that one time?
It's one time, but it's also upon renewal. But it's just a fee. It's not an investment. It's just a fee.
It's basically an FU. Like, this is FU money. Like,
yeah.
Right. If you're crazy enough to pay this, sure.
Canada's
but who is?
And because this is impacting the countries it impacts the most are India and China, for example. But India, because there's so many tech people coming from India. So Canada has responded by promoting more of these advanced degree visas to encourage and enhance immigration to Canada from these highly educated people, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't get an H-1B generally unless you have this advanced degree, like Cherry, for example, right? So she would have been an easy person to sponsor before 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I was pretty easy to sponsor as a lawyer until 2 weeks ago. And it's not about the process, it's about the cost, because it becomes cost prohibitive to hire people for small businesses that are utilizing these services to create strategies. So what does that mean? So that means that now, for those that thought they were going to get a sponsorship for a job, you really need to look at the E-2 more seriously. And guess what? You need to look at the E-2 more seriously now, not a week from now, not a month from now, but now, because things are changing and they're changing quickly, and we don't know when the changes will happen. And what does that mean? So when changes happen on these proclamations or executive orders, they're implemented generally within 24 hours. So it's not like you have a period of adjustment or, to go and make the changes that you need. So if you want an E-2 visa, and especially as you and I will talk about through real estate investing, which is my specialty, but if you want an E-2 visa, you want to bring your family to the US and have a renewable, flexible opportunity. And by the way, you don't have to move with an E-2 visa, but you do have to act now because it may not be there. And we don't know when that's going to change.